It's the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue here? Really?
With the new outfit. Well, he is world famous after all.
Yeah, it's really weird seeing the wax statue in the outfit that he was wearing this morning. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it.
I know.
It's so creepy and ugly.
Oh, it's hideous. But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley, and he doesn't move a muscle.
Wow. You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. Wait. It just moved, I'm sure. And not just a little bit, either. You idiot.
Really? Did it?
Don't look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model.
I just love, like, even though he doesn't say anything, you can hear the in your head.
Yeah.
Hit him again.
Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look. There's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing.
What?
My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent.
Mr. Sholmes, I knew it.
Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
Temporary waxwork? What do you mean?
And that kick. Should have exercised a little more restraint. You winded me. If an 8-year-old kicking you wins you, then maybe you should, like, work out more.
Start working out, you lamer.
Bruno has something he needs to ask you.
Ah, a question.
I thought you'd probably be getting bored, too. So here we are.
Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that. And my great brain upon which all my successes have been built would have turned to wax.
Thank goodness we arrived in time.
Indeed. In many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from unimaginable loss.
Yeah, what a loss.
Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you?
He could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him.
Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? Well, you're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing.
Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry.
And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that this is related to the matter about which you've come to me now.
But how could it be?
We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work.
Oh. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? So can I... Nope. No. Oh. This is the same line. Oh, this is new.
That's how Hurley gets away with making himself a temporary exhibit for the day.
Maybe there are other people posing as exhibits in here then.
Or maybe all the exhibits are real. Yep.
Yeah, this is not... Yeah, back to Night of the Museum. Well, no, there are clearly some that are real wax figures. That's true. Is this someone infamous murderer?
Yes, called Chain
Oh!
Ripper. All her victims were young women.
It's a little bit Joss Whedon-y, don't you think?
I could fix her.
I knew it! You can tell by the way she's holding that knife. Sure sign of a murderer.
Well, yes.
Ah!
What's the matter, Rudo?
I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill the bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore.
Ew.
Ew.
That according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub.
Really?
Sorry, I don't think it's significant.
Why is it there?
Sexy.
I still think it has to be there for a reason.
It looks like such a nice spot for a bath.
So wait, is this Jack the Ripper then? Ugh. Is this an example of Western Sushigiri?
What? I don't know what that is.
You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword?
I still don't know, no. Actually, the waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Bruno? Doing that sushi thing you mentioned?
No. Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. What? Sorry?
Until I snap.
Yeah, until he snaps.
Yeah.
And decapitate chumps with it.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll talk to Sholmes. Hey, man. What is this place?
Madame Tuspales came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London.
There are museums like this in Japan, too. But these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they?
The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tuspales family, they say. They earned renown through the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine.
Ugh. That sounds grim.
The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned.
Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the execution.
That sucks. You know, it's weird how this kind of thing is cyclical, because it goes from this to Mortal Kombat devs watching videos on LiveLeak.
Yeah.
That really turns my stomach. Me too.
That's just one of several legends about the Tuspales family. Whether there's any truth to it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum by quite some margin is the House of Horrors.
House of Horrors?
Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition. People usually flock here to see the exhibit system of London's most vile criminals and their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the models of them.
Well, I don't think that's true.
They're
Probably
skeleton.
like skeletons at this point. Have you heard of poor taste?
Have you heard of dark humor?
My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked.
They yearn for me to be a jerk.
Yeah, clearly. So, the hideous exhibits in here are...
They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place.
Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? I'm glad Ryunosuke is appropriately horrified by this.
Yeah. Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here.
It's just true crime. It's funny stories.
Funny stories.
Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? Man, it still fucks me up that people don't really react to true crime stories as if real people were involved, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so upsetting.
Like, the fact that there's, like, hugely popular YouTube channels that monetize every video. That's like someone doing their makeup while flippantly and like very brusquely talking about how a minority was brutally murdered.
Or doing
Yeah.
a mukbang.
Yeah. It's so.
And they like they'll talk about it like it's a TV show, and then
Yeah,
they'll be like,
exactly.
"Hey, here's my theory," and it's like, I think you need to shut up.
Like, the thing... Like, the reason I like BuzzFeed Unsolved is because I think Ryan and Shane actually handle the topics with some element of grace, especially when they're particularly horrible.
Yeah.
But, like, that's rare these days.
It feels less exploitative, yeah.
And I'm glad that now that they're not with BuzzFeed, they're at Watcher, they're doing a show called Mystery Files, which isn't just murders. It's hardly ever murders, actually, and it's just mysteries, unsolved mysteries, and that's way better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's less sad, but still the same
Unsolved
kind of
Mysteries, but
content.
not the Netflix one.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, I guess Unsolved Mysteries, the TV show, was a lot of murders.
Yeah.
It was just murder.
It was just murders.
Except that one episode that was about alien abductions.
Yeah, that's the one that I can't watch.
Oh, it was annoying, honestly. No one even died. They were just like, yeah, we all dreamt it, so it's real.
Great, cool, great job, guys. Cool story. What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes?
Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act.
Are you getting paid for this? Catching them?
Every half an hour, I'm home in a different killer. I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare
Is
him.
this a hobby?
Members of the public come for a closer look. I offer them my hand to shake.
Terrifying!
He just wants to be a street performer.
For a shilling, I'll happily love to take a photograph with us.
Are you busking? Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why?
My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money.
Oh, Hurley needs money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors.
It's me, Renosuke. I made the oof.
Tommy Tallarico is standing next to the fucking wax dolly lava.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, it's all full circle. Ah,
I met the Queen, Renosuke. She's a very big fan of my work.
She's
I'm
very
sure.
proud of me.
yeah, I'm sure. She reads all your stories.
As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent. And I have the ravenous iris to consider.
She's getting me out of
Ravenous.
Watson Home.
She's like a mogwai.
Oh, Hurley. So hungry.
Open this can of beans.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your best bit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do your bit.
Do my bit. What's he threatening to rope me into now?
So, with that in mind, how about a photograph?
I only have a bit. Or I have 2 bits left. Sorry.
As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours.
Maybe some other time.
Remember, Mr. Naruhodo, ignore me at your peril.
Angry.
Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse?
Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then?
Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks.
Ah, friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust.
I guess so. And so I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I'd learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Harebrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeeks such a different person.
I was sure that you'd know, Hurley.
You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot. And that you believe it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly climbed up.
Well, it seems we've reached the unavoided.
Hello? Uh-oh. 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 Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? Hey, may I?
Yeah.
You may. She's French, by the way.
Yeah, I can't do a French accent. And if I did, it would probably be horribly offensive.
And you can't be offensive to the French.
The French
That's
offend everyone.
that's true. I am Canadian, so they already merely like accept my existence. And
The
what's she?
easiest way is just to chop the H off of the sort of words and change TH into Z.
Oh yeah,
I'll use
that's
the French
right.
accent.
Yeah, that's right. I'll talk like David Cage. There we go.
Exactly, there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly like David Cage.
It's actually David Cage.
I made the bad game. And what's she wearing? Could she look any more mysterious? Oh no. I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry, have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again! My apologies. I am Esmeralda Tuspels. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're the Madame Tuspels? Madame Tuspels. Does she do spells?
It looks like she does.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Bien sûr.
Bien sûr?
Bien sûr.
I can't roll an R. Fuck you. Bien sûr. Though only 26 years young, I might add. Is that significant somehow? I'm a madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. I know how to say that. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Oh no! Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble.
It's so good.
He's dead! Oh, no, he's fine.
She sounded deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now?
I'll forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot, right here in the museum, I mean.
Yes, I know, but...
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
haven't we got enough on our plate already? Oh no, she's hot. I hate... Oh no. Why are there so many hot women in Ace Attorney?
I know. And this game doesn't even have to make them naked to make them hot.
I know, right? Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tuspels? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know.
Gosh.
You know, I just realized I'm giving her the voice of Luke Lamont from FF14, and that's a great character whom I love. It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family.
Grandmother.
A grandmother, yeah. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. So that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeness. Wait, what, that wasn't the right words. I accidentally skipped that. Lifelikeness, no, that was the right words.
Yeah.
All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley.
what you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. Oh, the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people of which they were are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret to the extraordinary lifelikeliness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure.
No.
No. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. Well, you know, Ryunosuke is not one to judge because he also does technically consort with murderers and the like. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Great question. Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Yeah, that's like Iris.
Sorry. Perhaps I should have eased you into things.
Maybe. What's up with that one?
Why is this one so fucked up?
What's the situation with that? Ah, my temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal. Oh, what sort of proposal?
My dear madam, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. I love how it wasn't even her that came up to him.
Yeah,
it was
he
like,
approached
hey, I
her.
need money.
Yeah, hire me. Or words to that effect. Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective. It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services.
For a mere £500, I will dive into your coconut wax this very moment.
What?
My skin is yours, madame.
Or words to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So, we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent.
I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
They're gonna take my legs.
Or words to that effect.
Pawnbroker, that's what it is. You must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Something afoot! I wondered, could I ask you something? Or I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little... Oh, he's disappeared. Great. Hello? Ah! Oh. It's... Hold on, I'll get that line back.
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for sale.
There you are! Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madame Tuspels, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem just thrown into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not? She's turned as white as a sheet.
Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. So please be aware that I prefer, no, I insist upon payment in advance.
You fucking bum. He's such a bum. Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage in my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Tuspel's special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must have picked a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Ah, absolutely no. There is nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame.
There's an arm poking out of there.
What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain?
Ah!
I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains. But only oh, I don't know how to say that one. Soupçon?
Soupcon.
Soupcon?
Soupçon.
Soupçon. But only up to
Soupcon.
the soups. Yeah, the soupçon just means small.
Soupçon.
Soupçon.
The soupçon, baby.
Ah!
I must confess, when I peeked behind the curtain earlier, Tuspel's special exhibit has a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
What does strike one, however,
Ah!
is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor.
Leave him alone. Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself.
I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
Really? What?
As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans.
Yeah, they're three-dimensional, whereas the wax ones aren't.
So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first, that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit.
What? What? Why would you say such a thing?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime.
Ah! She looks as pale as candle wax. I don't understand.
So, Madame Tuspels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Hey, that's not what he's wearing. Aw, she's so cute.
To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum.
Right.
The answer is revealed by this bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, she got a fat stack!
In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
What's that money?
Set this on my own money!
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much the involuntary glances you cast would seem, Madame Tespels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall.
Mm.
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the public notice.
Nope.
Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you stole the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds.
No!
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor?
Leave him alone!
It would appear the man has suffered from a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you.
Ah!
Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What deals the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds.
Sorry, what does she have on her other side?
It would appear you twisted this gentleman around your finger most effectively.
What are you suggesting?
You rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what an extortionate amount he was paying.
That doesn't sound right.
But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result? The scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock.
You stole $200 from him. He's dead now.
I'm gonna kill you, give me $200. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret.
Well, if he bought the waxed figure, it would still be there. Because
Dumbass.
he's still here.
Stupid.
Hey, no, hey! 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 That's not what he's wearing! Where's my slut shomes? Thank you!
The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly...
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there.
Who's clearly a real man.
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief. Such as is worn by the policeman as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that the crime is being perpetrated.
Is that real?
Oh.
Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum.
Oh.
I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
But, sorry, did she think he was a wax figure?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage.
Wow, rude.
I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag.
Wow, he got that scarf for 3p? That's pretty cheap. That's a nice scarf.
Ruppence, a tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks is riddled with cracks.
Wow! Get off his ass!
And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200.
Oh my god.
This sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame?
I do not...
Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited the old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon.
Extended periods of Sholmes talking are difficult, huh?
They are, because he has such a haughty way of speaking.
I know.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
I do not envy you having to voice this man.
It's very fun. I like voicing him. It's just like, yeah, those long periods where he's like saying, you know, a bunch of $5 words.
Yeah.
Ruppence words.
Well, he's about to die.
Her wax pot sounds like a bong.
It does.
I see. I stunned you all into silence.
You sure have.
You have, Hurley. You have.
Get him, girly.
And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow.
According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So, that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it?
Killer policeman, Automol.
Sorry?
He's just making shit up.
It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermore.
What? A cop
Recap.
killed people?
Wow.
Whoa!
Would know.
No way!
No way.
So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man there is supposed to be?
Indeed. It is a particularly grim face, is it not?
He's sleeping.
Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well.
No, we're not talking about odious right now. But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model?
It would be enough to afford the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective.
So it is quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down. That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
Oh, the smell of all that melted wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's alright. To make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions.
It's alright. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tuspels vents her anger.
Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow.
Wait, you count on this?
So, Madame Tuspels, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
Yeah,
There's a very popular fan theory that Sholmes is fucking up these on purpose to kind of, like, guide Ryunosuke
to help
to the right
Ryunosuke.
conclusion.
I see.
Yeah. That's why he seems so, willing to let him help and to, like, make obvious errors, connect the dots for him.
I see. I actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
'Cause he's clearly not as stupid as he presents himself.
No, clearly,
yeah. He's really clever and resourceful.
Like,
But
there's
he
a
acts
reason
like
he's a great detective.
Yeah, but he acts like a dumbass in front of people for the same reason that the real canon Sherlock Holmes acted like a drunk and a drug addict. Is because it throws people off kilter.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not this, obviously. It's maybe the dead guy. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true.
I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for 200 pounds.
Oh?
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything.
For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway. I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow that furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it. That new note doing pinned on the wall there?
Oh, yes. Let's see. Dear Madame Tuspels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd October.
What?
This is... It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note.
Exactly. Well, that's probably it then, huh?
Take that!
Probably that. Oh, there's the fit. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note.
Quite so. We must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness, abducting a waxwork.
Ah,
200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it.
the model in question has special importance. So I put together all the money I have.
In summary, then, 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money.
Yes, correct.
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor?
Yeah,
These are new,
this is
right?
not new, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else could it be? So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is?
I could just ask him when he comes around.
I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard. We mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tuspel's trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. What is she trying to hide? Am I looking at her? I must be. What? 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 Huh? That ain't normal.
This is just Madame Tuspel's right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is the left hand as well, look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
She's literally like walking around behind her and touching the hand and she's trying to hide. You mean it's made of wax?
Take that!
Boom.
Little
What dealt
mouse.
the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand.
Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you...
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a
Oh,
right
it's Rinosuke.
Close... Oh, sorry.
It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals that, in fact, it's a left hand.
Wow, they're so fucking queer that they're finishing each other's sentences.
I know.
It's somewhat masculine as well. Oh, transvestigator.
Hey!
No.
In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Yeah!
She did it.
Yeah, I did it! Fucked up. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
Cause the damage.
Causes the damage? So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake.
Like taking a whole branch off of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I am afraid I had to teach the man a lesson.
Honestly, valid.
Yeah, valid.
I think anyone with a public-facing job should be legally allowed to brain one person per year.
You're so right.
It would
Oh my
improve
God.
behavior. It would improve customer behavior across the board because no one wants to be the one.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you talk to a retail employee, you should fear for your safety. You should be like,
Yeah.
have they used their one per year yet?
Yeah, like, am I good or? You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back.
And the result, the scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have a conclusion. Yes, the killer is in this special exhibit, has been kidnapped.
Oh. Kidnapped.
Kidnapped!
Okay. Is this not right? According to Mr. Sholmes, the Yellow Neckerchief was assigned to other policemen that some crime is underway.
Way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard.
That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
Well, uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. That's not a cop. What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be.
Oh, well that settles that then.
Right. This isn't a real person at all.
His entire arm's been ripped off, from the shoulder down.
His arm's been... Of course, that ties in with what we just found out.
He's got an arm off.
He's got an arm off. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth. Of that I can assure you.
How do you know?
In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds a waxwork model.
Wow. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally, what other explanation could there be?
Hey! Hello? Who's that? Who's that little guy?
Chunosuke.
The mouse!
What's that guy doing there?
He's stitched to his shoulder.
He's
This
part of
is-
the outfit.
He's part. I didn't realize that. I didn't even see that. Wow, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
He's a cute little guy.
Sasato has one too.
Aww.
You'll see her when she comes back.
Oh.
I mean, no, she's not coming back. No, no.
No, she would never. And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly...
This is not new.
Oh.
Yeah. No. A killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known?
It was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price, though. Threepence isn't much money.
Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garrett's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermole? Really?
Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if another idea crops up.
Get off this poor man's ass. He's pissed. Look at this. The old man's tapping his foot like crazy. He's not tapping his foot consciously then. So you mean...
Must be a twitch.
Never mind that. The point is, waxwork don't tap their feet.
Or twitch.
And look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we? I guess I should look at that, too. I don't believe it. It's a secret sign that lets other detectives know some criminal activity is underway. Oh, no, that was yours.
What you said.
I did it this time. Yes, it's a slightly strange choice of outfit if he was trying to go unnoticed.
Ah, he must be a detective disguised as a policeman.
Or a detective disguised as a waxwork model of a policeman.
Doesn't look like he's clever enough to think of something like that, though.
Perhaps you should try to be a little more polite about him, Iris. What should I do? The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this oh, yeah, okay. That's what I'm trying to prove. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch.
Even the most realistic waxworks don't exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of the Scotland Yard.
He's splendid now. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then.
And there you have it. Well, when empty spells.
Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence?
No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby person purchased recently at the local market. And I presume you've observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes! The secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective.
So, it would seem that we finally arrived at the truth.
What does this have to do with what we came here to ask you, though?
I don't know.
The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped.
And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery.
Oh, wait! Okay, no, okay.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
No, I understand. Because why would you need a wax model?
Yeah.
All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Oh no, she smiled! Fuck! Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I have no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork in the special display. If it was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically it was.
Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. In as much detail as possible, if you please.
Great. Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return home, that you return to your work.
The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel, but as you wish.
Great. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that the waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here.
It's your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed.
And I found the ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then.
For this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose?
Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say, the Professor. Not a name I've heard of. Huh.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete.
Sorry?
The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital.
10 years ago?
Yes, at exactly the time that Baroque Van Zeeks graduated from university, in fact.
Huh. What? Surely he's not saying...
So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life.
As you surmised, it was the Professor case.
Who was this professor then? It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death.
And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction.
But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zeeks?
You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Hurley?
Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy.
I see.
Members of the nobility, even royalty, it sent shockwaves to the country's administration.
So did this professor kill his parents? Is he Batman? Members of the... Ah, wait, of course! What Professor Hairbrain said. Lord Van Zeeks is from a member with noble blood.
Oh, gosh.
It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zeeks.
Clint Van Zeeks. No! I don't believe it! Van Zeeks?
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Baroque pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today.
I had no idea Lord Van Zeeks had such a tragic past.
Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter. For the time being, at least. After all, I have work to do.
You sure do.
As a waxwork exhibit.
Huh. I am afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. She's too designed to not come back. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming... Oh, wait, who is this?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably harebrained.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, I'll get that back. There.
Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barack.
Don't say Barack.
Barack Obama?
It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places.
I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Asman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could have happened. It could happen.
Tomorrow, the court will decide.
Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident. A terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it.
I don't think I can. Not right now, anyway.
I must warn you.
Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you?
Yes.
Since I've returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barack, are you really...
What?
Never mind. I know that you have my best interests at heart. That's why you're trying to put me under the jail.
Yeah.
Right?
My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else.
Of course. I fully understand.
This genuinely is collusion, though.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barack.
Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court.
Great. So they are friends.
I'll see you in court, in brackets, homosexual.
That's Ace Attorney.